The starship Devastation dropped out of hyperspace and moved into orbit around Wolf 4. The planet's surface was hidden from view by the swirling atmosphere. It looked much like any other planet, a drop of spit against the darkness. The ship's sensor spikes shimmered briefly as it scanned Wolf 4, and then the cargo bay doors swung open. A slender navy pinnace emerged, sleek and silver, and drifted away from the huge bulk of the starship. The pinnace fell into its own orbit, and the Devastation disappeared back into hyperspace. The pinnace slowly circled the storm-shrouded planet, a gleaming silver needle against the star-speckled night. Captain Hunter gnawed at the insides of his cheeks as he ran his hands over the control panels. It looked like he was going to have to pilot the ship down after all. This far out, the onboard computers were all but useless. They didn't have enough information to work with. Hunter shrugged. What the hell? It had been a long time since he'd had to fly a ship by the seat of his pants. But some things you never forget, particularly if your life depends on them. For a moment, the old overpowering uncertainty was suddenly back with him, the familiar panic of not being able to choose between alternatives for fear of doing the wrong thing. His breathing and heartbeat speeded up, and then slowed again as he fought grimly for control. He'd done this before. He could do it again. He ran through the standard instrument checks, losing himself in routine. The control panels blazed with steady, comforting lights. He checked the pinnace's orbit was still stable, and then released the sensor drones. Hunter watched them fall towards the planet on his view screen. The sensor probes had better tell him what he needed to know the first time. The odds were he wouldn't get a chance to launch a second series. It wouldn't be long now before the pinnace's orbit began to decay, and then he'd have to power up the engines, ready or not. The ship's batteries only had so much power, and he was going to need most of it for the landing.